Hi, it's Russell Simmons, Chairman of Rush Communications, and you're watching Behind the Brand.
Hi, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Today I'm here with Russell Simmons. Russell, thanks for being on the show.
Happy to be here.
Russell, I usually ask my guests, how'd you get this job?
Well, I moved to Hollywood to this job. I moved to Hollywood to meditate with my kids and take them to school. But since I was back in Hollywood, I started to look at film, television, and now digital as a new dharma, because I had been in film, television, and building a digital company was the obvious extension. So All Def Digital, which I consider that my job. I go to work every day here, and we build film and television properties from here, as well as doing digital properties. So I got it because I was in LA. I knew something about the industry, and I thought it'd be fun to delve back into it.
For those of who are watching who don't know your past, kind of give us a short little history of where you came from and where you are now.
I work in film, television, records, clothing, financial services, and I do a lot of philanthropic work. All of those things are my priority. My one priority are all of those separate things.
How'd you get started doing this?
I started producing music and managing music artists. In 1979, I managed an artist named Kurtis Blow. He had a song, Christmas Rappin', and it plays every Christmas still. I'm from New York City, and that's where hip hop started, and that's where I started.
Let's break down some of your best advice. You know, people watch this show are entrepreneurs, and they're trying to do their thing. They're looking at you as a role model. Can you give them some advice?
I can. I learned through experience that operating from a calm space is better than from a frenetic space. Lots of entrepreneurs are worried about the next thing rather than being focused on the thing in front of them. Operate from a present position, because you cannot ever be transported to the future or the past, nor can you do a good job when your mind is focused on this imaginary future or imaginary past. You are present. You will always be present. The more you can allow your brain to settle into reality, the more you can be good at what's in front of you. When your mind is fluctuating, you don't get to focus on what's in front of you. If you do a good job now, your next now will be a better now.
How long did it take you to get to that mindset? I mean, that's pretty deep.
Well, we all of us operate from this potential, this place, because every time we're passionate and invested in something, then we are there. But when we leave there is when we run into problems. So every time, so people say, I don't know anything about what you're talking about. I don't understand what you mean by presence. That's all bullshit. But when they're working, their focus goes to what's in front of them. If it's something they're passionate about or something that they're engaged in, to be fully engaged is the best practice. Many people are that way without realizing. You don't have to read scripture or understand what every prophet said or know what we talk about when we talk about full consciousness or presence. You don't know none of that shit. All you got to know is that you're engaged in what's in front of you. And so I say that because people don't realize that there are tools. There are things you can do to make you more present. There are exercises, whether they be working out to clear the mind, or doing physical yoga, where you breathe and your soul physical practice is about opening and clearing the mind. Or whether you meditate, which is about settling the mind and the noise in the mind. Or whether you do good karmic work rather than having lots of dirty work out. When you have dirty work out, it makes the mind fluctuate. So you try to do these things that they promoted, all the prophets promoted, that all the scriptures tell you, because then those things help to clear the mind. And then as your mind is more present, your work is more powerful. And that's what people do, like it or not. They don't have to know it, but when you know it, you use the tools more often. And that's what I promote to entrepreneurs. Do meditate, take your time, reboot your brain. Make sure you take care of your physical, because you cannot serve the world unless you serve yourself first.
It sounds like you talk a lot from experience. Hindsight is just 20/20, right? So was there a time when you weren't present? Was there a time when you were looking back, carrying stuff with you, baggage, or looking for?
I carried more baggage than I carry now before.
Talk to me about that.
Well, I was, I had frenetic energy. I had a little bit more anxiety. I had a little bit more worry about the future and the past.
Like, what were you worried about?
A little more, because when I was engaged and when I made a good record, I'm producing Rockbox. I remember the snare drums, one snare drum to another, feeling like a lifetime because the melody was playing and I could hear it. I was clear and I was awake. The work will drag you in. The work will become the prayer. The work will make you present. I was passionate. I loved what I did. And so that gave me the kind of presence I'm referring to. People talk about your dharma. It sucks you in when you're engaged. So, of course, with practice, you become more able to focus. But with passion, you naturally focus. You don't have to work on it. You don't have to think about it, because the idea is not to think, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the phrase, like, when you lose yourself, you find yourself, kind of like that. That phrase comes to mind when I think about passion, because when you're really in the moment, you are lost in the moment, but it's like your true calling, like a bird to the air, fish to the water, it's your element, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Being engaged is key. Yeah. That's like God consciousness, being fully engaged in your work.
I didn't realize you're such a spiritual guy.
Well, we all are spiritual guys. I'm just simply laying it out in a way that it may sound more spiritual. It may sound more, but everybody who loves their work has these experiences. Presence promotes good work. Presence promotes happiness. Noisy minds promote sadness, sickness. When someone tells you, it may ring a bell. Oh shit, I didn't realize that that's what it was I was searching for. To be more present. Everybody's searching for more seconds of presence.
So let's go back to the past a little bit. So, the reason I bring it up is because I think the F word, fear, gets a lot of people stuck. People, and I think that's probably exactly what you're talking about. Either bringing stuff from the past with you, or thinking about the future that no one can predict anyway, right? But talk to me about whether or not is it more difficult now to start something new, now that you have all this experience and kind of, I'd call, wisdom, and maybe you have some more resources, or was it easier to start something back then because you had?
That question came up yesterday on a panel, and there were totally different perspectives on it. One person believed young and fearless and without obligation gave them the freedom to begin new. And I said, at 50, you start to feel comfortable that you know what you're doing. So for me, starting over in a new space is easier than when you're young and you have no idea or have no experience in the amount of work that it takes, the length of time that it may take, that you learn not to quit. You have these moments where you want to quit when you're younger, and then your passion brings you back to your subject and maybe you stay on it. Most people quit a lot, but I have experience of sticking it out. So I have that faith thing, because I know when you stay on something, it becomes something. You can't fail until you quit. I have real experiences where things looked bad but turned out good. And they all will have moments that are not what you expect, but you have to stay on them. So I have these experiences. So for me, being older. But then some people don't change subjects and want to start something new. I talked to my old partner, Leo. I said, what are you going to do now, Leo, now that you've left Warner Brothers? And he said, I'm going to start a record company. I was like, really? Right?
Good idea, bad idea?
Well, it's a good idea for him because he wanted to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And he liked doing that, and that was what made him happy. Where me, I'm more able to, or more interested in starting something else that strikes me as, exciting. Something else could be exciting to me beside music, or film, or television, or clothing, or financial services, or advertising, or comedy or poetry, or these different things excite me too. And I think that's kind of an entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and a serial expressionist, as a creative person in various different places. I think that it depends on your mindset and your ability to change subjects, and that may come from meditation or presence or fearlessness, but it just may just be a natural thing that you carry with you after, or experiences may bring you to a point where you're comfortable doing new things.
Do you think you were born a serial entrepreneur?
No, I think that life's experience gave me a push and made me into what I am today. I mean, you know, your circumstances have something to do with how you turn out.
Does that mean like
I could have turned out, you know, a drug dealer and dead or in jail. I didn't. I was lucky. My experiences helped me to shape the person that I am today.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I mean, when you say pushed, like you didn't have any other choice but sink or swim, that kind of thing, and you had to venture out on your own, or you didn't? I mean, because back in the day when you were doing this, the model was you go to college, you graduate, you get some sort of job, right?
Yeah.
White collar, blue collar, and you do your thing, and then you get your paycheck, and you work there at the same company for 20, 30 years, and then you got a pension. But
that was the route that my parents set me on.
right.
I learned to be an entrepreneur in the street. African Americans in middle class, lower middle class neighborhoods didn't have any aspirations to be entrepreneurs. They didn't own their stores on their corners. They were not entrepreneurs. The only entrepreneurs were the number runners, the drug dealers, and other, you know, ideas that were born, you know, under the law, right, out of the law. And so I was a drug dealer, and I bought something for $1 and sold it for $3. I bought a lot of it for $1, sold a lot of it for $3. So now it became a business, right? And I understood the margins, the business, and the mindset of being independent and being responsible for your profit. And that is what you think about all the hip hop entrepreneurs, a lot of them come from the same experience. Because it's not cultural in the black community, it had not been especially cultural in the black community to be an entrepreneur. So all the educated ones became teachers, and some of a select few, a lucky few of the ones who did things outside the law learned that you could become entrepreneurs in legal ways and other ways beside drugs. So I'm lucky, Jay-Z is lucky, Birdman is lucky, Cash Money, I can name all of them. You know, they were lucky. They were ones who got out. Damon Dash was lucky. You know, these artists found something else to sell. You know, and then they found something else and something else. You know, so Rock Nation became this touring company, became this merchandise company, became this boxing management company, became a sports management company, Puffy became Ciroc, right? Bad Boy became all kinds of merchandises, and Sean John became a multi-$100 million company, and Rockefeller did. So we all learned to be entrepreneurs. We found music, and then we found other subjects, from, you know, clothing to financial services.
Yeah. So you still think that's luck?
Well, it's luck that we didn't get sidetracked. You know, of course, there's a bit of, you know, hard work and resilience and faith and dedication that goes into building any business. There's a lot of it. Yeah. But to be put in a position that you can do these things, and I don't mean monetarily, I mean spiritually, it comes from the previous experiences I spoke of.
What do you think, you know, whether you're just getting started or you're reinventing yourself at 50, what do you think we should be measuring? What is your definition of success?
Your success is measured wholly by how happy you are. Money doesn't make you happy, but happy makes you money. I say it all the time. Happy makes you money. If you are happy, and if you're comfortable, and if you're present, and if you have a dharma, something to do that helps make you happy, then that thing should attract success, you know, in terms of worldly success. If it's what you invest in, whatever you invest your spirit in, it should create a return if you're doing it and you have a goal. The goal should come because of your spirit. So, and your intention and your work. But your work and your spirit and your intention are here, not in the return. You have control over your work alone and never the fruit. That's what it says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the yogic scripture. But it's in every scripture. You have control over your work. Your work is your prayer.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that thought. I picture you, this New York City kid, now kind of rags to riches kind of thing. You're into yoga and you're talking real spiritual. You ever get given a hard time by your peers that, you sort of mellowed out? Like, that doesn't seem like the,
Well, I'm still,
typical
I'm working
MO.
with 50 young kids downstairs.
Yeah.
I totally get them. They get me. I'm here to mentor them. I got experiences.
You ever get any pushback though, like on your street cred or like?
I don't chase street cred. I don't have a problem with street cred.
Talk about that for a second, because that's kind of what I wanted to get at, like with measuring success and like how we get past that. Because I still think
If you worry too much about the outside world, the world will worry about you. And if you don't worry about the outside world too much, you won't notice what they're thinking, and it won't worry as much about you. An honest expression is always going to be praised. If you're real, they say all the time in hip hop, keep it real, or 100. That's 100, 100, right? You understand that expression? I mean, that's what I try to do. And I think people respect that, whether they be gangsters or drug dealers or whether they be entrepreneurs or rappers or whatever they are, wherever world it is. There's no street cred that's valuable to chase. People gain their rep by what they do, their honesty, and people respect for that honesty.